"I know you're not Jake Smith," Beatrice smirked. She had him. This little brat was posing as her snooty son Jake. His real name was Denny Murphy, and she was going to deliver him back home and bring Jake back to his real family. That would surely ensure that Fred would fall for Beatrice once again. There's no way Fred could divorce her if she brought back his beloved son to him safe and sound. Not that either Beatrice or Fred were actually Jake's biological parents, but Fred thought they were. And that was what mattered. She was determined to keep this whole business under wraps so she could have her husband, and, crucially, her husband's money, back. Beatrice just had to get the real Jake back, and everything else would fall into place. Beatrice had to work quickly. Fred was in his office on a work call, so she was on limited time. Denny, meanwhile, was panicking. The ruse was up. He bolted out from the table, ready to make a run for it, but Beatrice grabbed him by the arm and jerked him forward. "Ow!" Denny screamed at the top of his lungs. "Be quiet, you're fine," Beatrice whispered to him. Denny froze for a moment. He looked into Beatrice's mean eyes and knew he had to get Fred back in there. No wonder Jake wanted to switch places with him. His mom was way nicer than this mean lady. "She's going to hit me! She's gonna hit me!" Denny screamed, louder than before. Beatrice raised her hand. Then she thought better of it and took a step back, just as Fred ran into the room. "What the hell is going on here?" Fred demanded. Denny burst into tears. Fred scooped Denny up into his arms. He glared at Beatrice, who held up her hands in mock innocence. "I was just trying to reason with him," Beatrice insisted. "Then why is he crying?" Denny buried his head into Fred's shoulder and cried some more. "What happened, Jake?" "She was about to hit me," Denny cried. "She's mean." Beatrice crossed her arms and glared at Denny. "This little two-faced brat," Beatrice thought to herself. "I had him right where I wanted him, and now he pulls this act? Now I'll have to try a different tactic." "Get out, now, Beatrice," Fred yelled. "I'm going, but that child is not telling the truth. And one day soon, you're gonna find out all about it. You just wait. Then you'll see who really cares here." "Get out!" Fred yelled again. Fred hugged Denny to his chest. "Dad, she's mean. A mean lady," Denny whimpered. "Come on now, that lady is your mother, Jake. I can't change that. I married her." Denny crossed his arms. "Can't you just divorce her and marry someone else?" "Jake, don't say such things. We are your family. Even if your mother is difficult, she is your mother." "She's not my real mom," Denny thought. "My mom was nice and kind. Nothing like that mean witch." Denny knew at that moment that he was ready to go home. So later that night, Denny snuck downstairs and found a telephone in Fred's office. He dialed his home phone and crossed his fingers that since it was so late, no one would pick up except his younger sister, Sammy. Across town, Sammy sat in front of the TV with Jake Smith, who was still happily pretending to be her brother, Denny. Jake was, in fact, having the best night of his life. They watched late-night cartoons and shared a giant bowl of popcorn. He had never been allowed to stay up this late back home. "Your mom lets you stay up this late past your bedtime?" "Only when I have nightmares." "Do you have nightmares a lot?" "Sometimes," Sammy shrugged. Just then, the phone rang. Sammy stood up to answer it. Jake couldn't believe this either. He was never allowed to use or answer the phone at home either, especially if Beatrice was around, and she was always around and always talking on the phone. "Murphy residence," Sammy spoke into the phone like an adult. She motioned towards Jake with her free hand. Jake walked over to her. "It's for you." Sammy handed him the phone. Jake stared at the phone. "Who is it?" Sammy shrugged. "I don't know, but they're whispering, so I can't tell who it is." Okay. Jake took the phone from her. It's Beatrice, Jake thought. She's found me like she did at school. Hello? Jake held the phone against his ear. Jake, it's me, Denny. Denny? Jake whispered into the phone. He looked over to see if Sammy heard him, but she was back on the couch watching TV. She shoveled another handful of popcorn into her mouth. What are you doing? You shouldn't call here. I'm tired of being you. We gotta switch back. Jake felt frozen. He liked it at the Murphys, watching late-night cartoons with Sammy. He liked their kind nanny, Nora, and her cooking, even if she didn't know how to flip a pan or cut cucumbers really fast. Most of all, he liked Quinn. And he didn't want to give her up as his mom yet. Even if the mix-up was accidental, he wanted it to become permanent. I'm sorry, I don't think I can do that, Jake mumbled, and he hung up the phone. Who was that? Sammy glared quizzically. Wrong number, Jake covered quickly. Huh. Sammy looked back at the TV, but Jake was worried that she didn't believe him. The following day, Quinn sat at her desk. She'd already cleaned the whole house and done all the laundry for the week. She'd even color-coordinated her closet. Her housekeeper, Nora, had left to go to the grocery store an hour ago, and Quinn had no one to talk to. She flipped through some old paperwork, but she still hated sitting still. Quinn's suspension was still in place after Fred Smith's bogus claims about her hurting his child. Quinn felt that he should be more worried about his own wife hurting his child. Quinn was professional. That child was afraid, but Jake Smith wasn't afraid of her. He was afraid of his own mom. The thought broke Quinn's heart in two. The phone rang. Quinn picked it up, grateful to have someone to talk to. Hello? I have a gentleman here requesting a private consultation. A child's voice emerged on the other end of the line. Quinn tried not to laugh at the formality. Denny? Is that you? You're supposed to be at school, young man. My dad needs help. Your dad? Who is this? Quinn asked. All Quinn heard was crying on the phone. She immediately goes into doctor mode. Oh no, sweetie, what's wrong with your father? He's collapsed. He won't wake up.
Hi, Quinn here. And if you're wondering what happens next, click on the link in the description to listen to the full audio series. You can also watch the next episode here in the playlist.